Good evening and welcome to Collector Cars. I'm Lance, your host.
And I'm your co-host, Gabriella.
All right. This is going to be a very special show, folks. You're going to love it. How about we introduce our guest? Mr. Taman.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
One of our sponsors, one of our excellent sponsors, TV advertisers, Mr. Bill Trier, who's just an old regular here.
Hi, Lance. Glad to be back.
I know you were hanging out by the front door again.
I know. They let me in this time.
And next to Mr. Trier, this is Carson. That is Gabriella's brother, Carson. Now, let me tell you what's happening, folks. We've got Gabriella attends the Garden Elementary School in Venice, and she's a regular on their TV school station. They have an integrated TV show where you do weather and news and all kinds of stuff. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And you participate in all of that. Sometimes you even get to run the camera.
Yeah, sure do.
Good, because Gus isn't doing too hot over here. we may need a replacement soon. Sorry, Gus. And your brother, Carson, he attends the Taylor Ranch Elementary School. He's in the 3rd grade. He cheerleader.
Yes.
All right. We're going to tell the folks a little bit later about a car show that's going to be happening for the Venice cheerleaders. But right now, let's get to Mr. Taman. Gary was on the show a few weeks ago or a month ago. I lose track of time anymore. It's one big car
Recently.
show. Recently. There you go. Recently. He was telling us about some fabulous radio stuff that they have, which is incredible for classic cars. Perfect for these guys because they don't want things in the dash. They want things hidden. They want the contour of the dash to stay.
Exactly, or an original look.
The radio, the original look. Now tell us about some speaker stuff here.
Yeah, basically what I've got here, one of the problems with putting a stereo in a car, be it one of these conversions or a hidden stereo, just any stereo in the glove compartment, what do you do with speakers? Some cars aren't too hard. You can just put it in the package tray, put them in the doors or something, but then what if you're trying to keep your classic looking original and you're trying to put some speakers in there? A lot of these cars are not conducive to doing that. Your early Corvettes, your small T-Birds, even your big T-Birds, mine's a challenge, right? Just alone a 64, but I do have a lot of solutions for these. What I've got here, this is one of them. Custom Auto Sound makes this. It's called a dual voice coil speaker. It has a full-size woofer, 2 tweeters, and it is designed for 2 channels. You can put 2 channels of the stereo to the 1 speaker. Now, if this is the only speaker you have, it's basically, it's going to make for a nice sounding radio. You have all the stereo effect of 2 tweeters an inch apart. However, if you have a rear speaker, you can connect both left channels to this in the front, connect both right channels to another one in the rear. Now you have your full stereo effect and your full power of the stereo if it's a 4-channel stereo, which most of them are.
One speaker.
Right. Or if you want this in the dash and you want to put 2 speakers in the back, or in the kick panels or whatever. A lot of combinations there.
What do you do if there's no space in the back? You're in a convertible and there just isn't any area back there. They don't want to mess up the panels.
This is a neat innovation. It is called an undercover stealth. It is just about the size and shape of a ream of paper. So when people call me and ask me about it, I say, can you put a ream of paper under the seats? Some Mustangs, Corvettes, you might have a time. Most of your Chevelles, Caprices, cars like that, full-size cars, there's not a problem at all. These go under the front seats. This is one of them, but they actually come in pairs. It's got a ported woofer, just like on your computer sound systems where, you know, the woofer sounds pretty nice. It goes under the desk or whatever. But this faces upward into the seat. The tweeter faces forward, so you don't have a muffled sound. These really sound nice. Cool. Put these under the front seats. If you have a convertible, you can put this in the dash, put 2 of these in the seats. You can turn the volume up and you can hear the stereo over those lake pipes or anything else with the top down, driving next to an 18-wheeler going down I-75.
Bill, what do you
Nice
think?
combination.
Yeah, I
Isn't
wouldn't
that a
have,
cool system?
I wouldn't have sold my Model T if I'd known that was available.
Yeah, you remember, well, when you remember, because Bill, see, Gary, Bill called me after you were on the first time, and he said, boy, I love that stuff that Gary was showing us. It's all hidden. You can put it in the trunk. You can put it
That will
anywhere.
fit in your Model
Run it
T.
on a remote. No one would ever know it. And you got this state-of-the-art sound, and no one would ever see, you know,
But he's
any
right.
equipment.
That has been a big problem for years with,
Sure.
with these collector cars. You just can't get the stereo put in the way you'd like to. Now you can.
And a lot of guys are taking the area between the seats and doing fancy stuff with that, with something that pops out with a radio in it. And this can be all hidden, a little remote control, and bang, you got your sound.
Exactly.
That's very cool, man. Very, very cool. We, now, if the people want to look into this or hear this or try this, I'll tell you what, why don't you bring one of these out to the show? Bring a system out. Put a couple of these under the seat of the car or whatever, even in your caddy or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Put them under the seat and hook up one of the other radios to it, and we can show you right at the show what it's like.
Okay, well, you remember a couple of years ago, I actually built a stereo at one of those car shows?
Yes.
And blew away the sound system in your trailer.
Yes. Gary, I don't know if you were there that night, Bill. He comes out with a whole box of stuff, dumps it on a table, and he's sitting there putting all this stuff together while I'm doing the show. By the end of the show, he's cranking sound through 2 speakers, clear as a bell, all the way out to the end of the parking lot from this little radio.
And I was using a flashlight battery.
Yes.
And you had that generator back behind the trailer.
We're done with Gary now. We're going to go on to our next guest. I'm telling you. Do you have this much problem in school when you're broadcasting?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to admit I made an impression that
Yes,
night.
you did. Yes, you did. Well, I'll tell you, Gary is the radio guy. He's been doing the conversions on these things for years, and he just turns those old, nasty radios into beautiful, state-of-the-art sound. I wanted to mention one more thing. Mr. Tom Sullivan, if you're out there, do you recognize these kids by any chance? That Gabriella, I was just looking at my notes, Gabriella and Carson, Tom Sullivan is your grandfather.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. And we won't tell him what you told us, but I'll tell him at the show. All right, Mr. Trier, you're on. Are you ready with the film clip, Mr. Perkins? Bill's got something special for us.
Okay, these are
Celebrity
celebrity
cars.
grocery getters, the cars celebrities drive. This, you remember the Home Improvement program where all these kids grew up on TV, and that's Tim Allen. And that's the car he drives today, is an Audi 4-door sedan. Some of these cars will kind of surprise you because their everyday cars aren't what you sometimes would think they would be. But it's kind of fun to see what some of these celebrities drive as their everyday car. Now, of course, remember Batman, and Batman had the Batmobile and the Batcycle and all those kind of things to drive. And there's Adam West that played Batman, and there he is up in the top picture today, driving kind of a mundane-looking black Chrysler 300C.
Doesn't look like a Batmobile to me.
Doesn't look like a Batmobile, but that's everyday car. Now look at that, Spider bike. Isn't that Spider-Man bike? That is used by somebody from the Fugees Trio in hip-hop. That's Wycliffe Jean. That must be something to go down to the 7-Eleven on that.
There you go. Well, it's hard to haul anything back from 7-Eleven.
I was going to say, where do you put the groceries?
Yeah. That would be
You have to
Ray
hang on to
J.
it. Now, who is that and what kind of car?
I'll be Buck. Arnold
that?
Schwarzenegger, and he drives
Arnold
a Challenger.
And a Challenger, right? He's got the SRT8,
Yes.
38 governor of California.
Smart
famous
man.
for the Terminator movies
That's my
and many
car.
others. But that's his everyday car. Okay, now here's Bill Gates, of course, with Microsoft fame, and he likes fast cars. That's a 959 Porsche, and that also is Bill Gates in the lower right-hand corner when he was 22 years old.